So we have another project for our Computer Engineering Computer Science 174 class, and the main premise of this project is a water utility company. So using a Python program, we have basically created a code that basically fills in all the requirements. And basically the requirements is that the customer has the options to put in a special code. They have to put in their beginning meter reading, and of course they have to put in their ending meter. These all have to be positive numbers because, water usage is always positive. So basically, there's also three different types of water usage, which is one would be residential, commercial, and industrial. And the main output that the code has to give us is that the output has to show the customer's code, the customer's beginning meter reading, and the customer's ending meter, as well as the gallons used and the amount of money that the customer has to pay. So these are all the specifications where the amount has to be in the tenth digits and tenth of a gallon as stated. And we have some sample outputs that we can show on my code. So jumping into our code, I can walk you through each of the lines. So the first line is basically asking where the first lines 1 through 7 will just be where the customer inputs all their information. So the first part lines 1 and 2 is where the customer would input the type of code is basically saying if it's industrial, residential, or commercial usage for water. So the code, like code letter. And then jumping to line 4, it's basically where the customer would input their starting amount of water used or the starting meter reading. And the end amount is the same thing where the customer will put the ending meter amount. So this is lines 1 through 7. Once again, it's just simple. It's where it's like customers can input their information to continue on to calculate the amount of water used as well as the bill that they have to pay. So jumping on to the next few lines, because there's three different types of codes or three different possibilities that the customers can basically say they're paying for, there's going to be an if-else statement. So basically, starting with the first statement, since the first one on the requirement was residential, I made the if statement starting with residential and the code starting with little r as well as capital R. So if the customer code, as well as stated in the beginning, where they input their code, if it's little r or capital R, then the program would run to have lines 9 through 21 ran. So then line 13 basically calculates the amount of water that be used, which is going to be end amount minus starting amount, and then divide by 10 because it's in the 10th digit, because the gallons it's specified in instructions needs to be in the 10th. Then jumping on to line 15, it's going to be talking about how to calculate the total bill, which is total cost equals $5 plus usage times 0.0005, which was basically stated in the instructions. As you guys can see right here, $5 plus this per gallon used. So that's basically the equation that is given. So we just input it into the program and it should run. So then lines 16 through 21 is basically the printing in the format, so the customer can basically get their like a straightforward bill where it will print the customer's code first, and then print out the beginning meter reading, print out the ending meter, as well as, because we have the usage calculated, and print out the gallons of water used, and in the usage it would be the total amount, as well as the total cost will print out the amount that the customer has to bill. So we can do obviously a practice run with just residential. So let's just run real quick. So let's say that customer enters capital R, all right, and going back to their the sample run that they had for little r or residential, if they had the beginning for as this number. Oh wait, hold up a second. Don't need this little. Give us a second, guys. All right. And the customer's ending reading, which would be this. It basically gives you the exact same output that we were looking for. So the customer's code is residential, or as known as R. And then it's giving the beginning reading reader, which we just input. And then the ending is this exact same thing. And the gallons of water used is basically this, the ending, minus the beginning divided by 10, and that's why it's 13.2, and the amount billed is $5.01. This matches exactly as the instructions, basically their output. So we got the exact same thing as sample run 1, which means our residential code is perfect because each of these numbers match up to the output that we have generated. So then that means we can jump on to the next half of the code. So now, because this is an if statement, we have to continue with the elf. So basically now we're moving on to commercial water. So once again, we're starting with, instead of if statement, we start with ELIF. And we're doing customer code, we're equating it to a C now. So capital C or lowercase c, this will stand for commercial water. And then, of course, line 26, we're doing the exact same equation to find the total amount of water used. It's going to be the same equation, usage equals end amount minus start amount divided by 10. And because as the instructions have specified for commercial is, as you guys can see right here, commercial, it says $1,000 for 4 million gallons or less and 0.00025 for each additional gallon used. For this, so this is for commercial, right guys? So we're going to equate charge as 1,000 and if usage as specified from the instructions, if usage is less than or greater than 4 million, the charge would be 4 million times each gallon used, so 0.0025. So that was basically how we got those numbers. It's basically from the instructions and you just equated it into the equation. So basically, as continuing on once again, lines 31 through 36 are the exact same thing where you have the print statement. So basically I copy pasted lines 32 and lines 35. They're all exact same thing, except this is usage now instead of, or they're both usage. And then line 36 is going to be about the charge and not about the total cost. So that was the only difference. But we can do a practice run for code C. So if we practice do a code C run, capital C, we can do exact same thing, go to their starting reading meeting. All right, so in line C sample run, it's this number. So we can do the beginning meter reading. All right, and the ending meter reading is this. I think this was a typo, so there's supposed to be a 1 in front. So I'll just add that 1 in front. And as you guys can see, once again, everything works out. Customer code is C, or commercial usage. The exact same thing as the starting meter is red, the ending meter is red, and then gallons of water used is calculated to be 0.8, as well as the amount that the person has to pay is 1,000. So basically, this matches the exact same output as the sample run 2, where it has the beginning meter, the ending meter is the exact same number, 0.8, as well as the amount billed, 1,000. So sample run 3 I think was a typo. It's not really using industrial, but so I will have to make my own sample output. But basically continuing on with the code, we have basically finished with the residential part of the code as well as the commercial usage. And now we can jump onto industrial usage, which is the last half of the project. So once again, because it's an if elf statement, we just finished with an ELIF statement. And once again, we're equating the customer code as I or capital I, because that's the symbol for industrial. And of course, nothing new. The line 41 is basically the exact same thing with usage equaling the end amount minus starting amount divided by 10 because we're in the 10th digit for gallons of water. So now for charging of the bill for industrial, it's a little different. We can go back to the rubric where, as you guys can see, for the industrial, it says $1,000 if usage does not exceed 4 million gallons, $2,000 if usage exceeds $4 million of gallons but does not exceed 10 million, and of course $2,000 plus 0.00025 for each additional gallon if it exceeds over 10 million gallons. So that's pretty simple. We just have 3 specifications, so that means just more if statements for the code. So of course we start with charge equals 1,000, and if usage is greater than 4 million, charge is just 2,000 as specified, and if usage is greater than 10 million, it will be 10 million plus the multiplied of 0.0025. So that's basically what was given from the what's it called, specifications in the rubric, and we just had to follow and basically like put it in our code, which is exactly how I put it out. And of course, you need the print statements as the bill we have always done. So line 49 to 52 is the exact same thing. Customer code, beginning meter reading, ending meter reading, gallons of water used, and then finally line 53 would be the final, which is the amount that's billed, but then the charge. So we can run an industrial real quick. So if we run an I, capital I, And because the rubric was a little iffy, I'm just gonna make random numbers up. So let's just make let's just say alright, this is 1 million. So then if it's 2 million, okay, so we have 2 million. So basically, because the number is less, or the amount of gallons used is less than 4 million, amount billed will be 1,000. So let's run a different one with, let's try to get above 4 million. So let's say it's like, I don't know, 1 million again. Or we have to put I. All right, 1 million. And then let's do 10 million. Oh, hold on, I messed that up. Give me a second, guys. Let's see. So if it's I again, let's say, just say it's like 5,000, and then it's like a big, really big number. As you guys can see, so basically with that big number, because the number is really obviously bigger than, I don't know what number I put in, but it's bigger than the usage, or number is greater than, what's it called? The 10 million, I think. Yeah, it's greater than 10 millions, obviously, because this is a big number. The total amount billed would be 4,500, because um, it's just 10 million times 0.0025. So yeah, that's the amount billed. So basically, that just concludes uh, our what's it called, our program, our code. So we once again we had our customer input the code, their starting amount, ending amount, and then they had the options of choosing three different types of waters: residential, commercial, or industrial usage. And regardless if it's capital or little letters, they're all, they always work. And yeah, basically, this is my program, and I think it turned out well. So thank you for watching.